Good morning, SDEWES. Dear guests, dear participants, dear colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen. It's my great honor and pleasure to welcome you in beautiful city of Dubrovnik on the 14th SDEWES Conference on Sustainable Development of Energy, Water and Environmental Systems. I would like to now introduce you our chairs. First, here we have a Secretary of Conference, Professor Zvonimir Guzović from University of Zagreb. Chair of the conference, Professor Neven Duić. Also a very important chair of award committee, Professor Natasha Markovska. Then on my right side we have Professor Ingo Stadler, who is chair for a panel and inviter lectures, keynote speakers. Then we have a chair of our special session and program committee, Professor Rolph Schneider from University of Zagreb. And chair of poster committee, Professor Petar Vrbanov. Today we here meet because we have many opportunities to discuss sustainable development, but before I would like to thank the organizations and who are supporting us and all of you who came from long places to discuss and show your results of your research. So first of all, I would like to tell you that this conference is organized under patronage of Republic of Croatia, Ministry of Environment and Energy, and the Ministry of Science and Education. Also, there are important thing to say that we need to admire our sponsors, someone who offer us a lot of opportunities to organize conference. So this year we have a gold sponsor from International Prize of Water, from Prince Sultan bin Abdullah Aziz, and we have a silver sponsor, Interreg project Econautinet. We also have many organizations and projects that supported us over the time, and this support is very important because, as you know, we used some funds to subsidize researchers to come here from the countries that don't have so developed GDP, and we used money from our sponsors to pay some of their membership or their fees. And now I would like to invite our welcome addresses, our chairs, please, in front of Croatian Academy of Technical Science. Professor Duić will give a short speech and introduction. Thank you.
Thank you, Goran. Distinguished Deputy Minister, distinguished Dean, Vice Dean, participants and guests, I would like to greet you, this time under different hat, as a Secretary of Energy Systems Department of Academy of Technical Sciences of Croatia, in the name of its President, Professor Vladimir Androchec. This conference comes in the crucial moment at the end of Kyoto Protocol era. Or to be more precise, Doha Amendment is ending the next year. And the beginning of a new era of Paris Agreement, that applies from 2020. While the Kyoto Protocol was a period of setting up of the mechanisms by the developed and countries with economies in transition, Paris Agreement is a new world of nationally determined contributions. It is our technical duty here to show to policymakers that new technologies can be favorable to their countries and that they can significantly increase their contributions without damaging their economies. We need to help fast decarbonization actually happen in order to stay under 1.5 degrees temperature increase. Energy efficiency and renewable energy sources should be supported in all circumstances. We need to speed up the advance of low-carbon technologies, both on demand side and supply side. That brings many issues to solve for technical sciences, and that is where SDEWES conference is so well placed to help in generation of new knowledge. While all carbon technologies should be supported, depending on local circumstances, it looks as if the most promising renewable energy sources are those that are variable in nature. That brings the need to develop technologies that enable integration, like demand response, power to heat, electric vehicles, hydrogen, carbon capture and utilization, and all kinds of storages and many others. That opens many new fields for us researchers, and we should quickly abandon research of unsustainable technologies. Also, we are witnessing huge evidence of the detrimental impact of plastics, and replacing single-use plastics with new renewable materials is a huge new task in front of us researchers. We need to develop new materials that would be less harmful to the environment and at the same time as cheap as fossil-based plastics. Can you do it? One question: how many of you are from Xi'an here? Anybody from Xi'an? Yes, we have 5 people from Xi'an here in the room. Did you know that in 13th, 14th, 15th century, there was a direct economical route between Dubrovnik and Xi'an? It was called Silk Road. Of course, there were many terminus of Silk Road in Europe, but Dubrovnik was one of them. So this city was rich because it was trading on the Silk Road. Amazing place, isn't it? Let me tell you about a few words about city of Dubrovnik, where you are now. It was independent, more or less independent, during 800 years of its history. Very, very small city in the midst of very difficult region with many big powers and armies invading Balkans. How did they manage? They traded, they were smart, they were good with anyone, diplomatic. So we, the small peoples, should be like that, balancing between different sides. One of the most interesting story about this city, I'm not sure if it's fully correct, but that's the legend that at the Battle of Lepanto, Dubrovnik Navy was split between 2 sides. On one side, half of the fleet was fighting for the Ottoman Empire. On the other side, half of the fleet was fighting for the Christian side. The result was Dubrovnik won. Everybody else lost. So, I hope you will have a great time in this great city of Dubrovnik and at the SDEWES conference. And I wish you, in the name of President of Academy of Technical Sciences, Professor Vladimir Dročec, a successful and fruitful conference in this lovely and profoundly historic city of Dubrovnik. Thank you.
Thank you, Neven, for introductory address. Now I would like to invite Professor Daniel Rolph Schneider, who is also Vice Dean of Faculty of Mechanical Engineering and Naval Architecture from University of Zagreb, which is one of the institutions that support organization of this conference together with Instituto Superior Técnico from Lisbon, when they started to organize this conference from the first conference in 2002 until now. They are still supporting and they are important partners. Daniel, please.
Hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I will try to keep it short. I know that nobody likes long introductory speeches. So, first of all, I would like to welcome you on behalf of the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering and Naval Architecture of the University of Zagreb, who is one of the main organizers of this 14th SDEWES Conference on Sustainable Development of Energy, Water and Environment System. I would also like to convey the greetings of our Dean, Professor Majetic, who, despite being very keen to come here, wasn't able because of the other obligations he has. I will say a few words about our institution because this year we have a special celebration. Actually, the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering and Naval Architecture celebrates the anniversary, 100 years of existence, actually. So that was a century since the first student began their studies at then the Royal Technical College in 1990 in Zagreb. And our faculty is a legal follower, I would say. Also, this year, at the same time, we celebrate 350 years of our university, University of Zagreb. So that was 300 years since its founding on 1669, when the King Leopold I granted the Jesuit Academy the status and privileges of an university institution. Actually, the celebration with many side events begins next month, and it will last full month. So if you happen to be in Zagreb in November or even the late October, please come and join us. You'll be welcomed. And then now I would like to say something about the conference. So a part of being the Vice Dean of this faculty, I'm also one of the organizers directly involved in many committees. So few words about this year's SDEWES. I don't know if you probably don't know, but this year's SDEWES conference is our biggest so far, with more than 610 participants from something like 56, if I'm not wrong, countries. So this is now 17 years that we started with SDEWES conferences, with the very beginning right here in Dubrovnik, while meantime we spread all over the world, and you will hear more later from my good colleague, Professor Duić, about it. So, I'm very glad that SDEWES conferences persisted and thrived because the significance of sustainable development has never been more important. The topics of climate change, plastic waste, integration of renewables, among many others, are very well covered at this conference and, of course, are of immense importance for society and science as well. So I hope that these 5 days of very intensive work would help us to at least contribute to solutions of these common problems and near us to our common goals. Therefore, I wish you and all of us a successful work on the conference. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Schneider. And now I would like you to invite Dean of the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering of University of Montenegro, which is a country with which we share many of history, but also this beautiful Adriatic Sea, and maybe in future some of the SDEWES conferences on Southeast Europe may be organized in the Montenegro, which will be our privilege. But Professor Igor Vušanović, please take a speech. Okay.
Thank you, Goran, for these nice words. Dear Professor Duić, dear SDEWES community, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I'm truly honored to be here today with all of you at the opening ceremony of 14th Conference of SDEWES, where I'm for the first time. I started my collaboration with Professor Duić a couple of years ago through some international projects that we had at that time. And since then, our collaboration is growing, I can say, every day. This occasion today is one of the steps of that beautiful journey. We are connected through the many mutual interests and ideas that we are sharing almost on the daily basis. And there are many opportunities to move forward and learn new ideas in the field of energy, sustainability, and preserving our nature through the implementation of the new technologies in the fields of renewable energy sources that we have plenty of. I hope that this opportunity today is the next point that will strongly increase our collaboration with Neven and with the SDEWES community, and we hope to get a chance to host you in Montenegro in the very recent future at some SDEWES conference, as Goran mentioned. We believe together that potential for collaboration is huge, both on academic level and through the implementation of renewable energy issues in this region that we called Western Balkan. I met wonderful people last night at the conference reception, and I'm sure that new contacts will bring benefits for all of us. I think personally that all people here are on the same holy task to add up some knowledge and send a message to the world about importance to protect the environment globally for generation of our kids throughout the journey of decarbonization which is already started. Of course, we can do it better and stronger than it's now, and our task is to convince our communities about importance what we are doing. There is no better way than the word of science. We have knowledge. We are aware about changes around us all over the world, and we are good in convincing others using facts and figures. So let this 14th SDEWES be in that spirit. I wish all participants of the conference to have fruitful discussions, raising a lot of questions to each other, and to make a step forward comparing the previous one. And that will be a key to success of our mission. At the end, I'd like to say thank you very much, Professor Duić, for this opportunity to join and talk on the SDEWES ceremony, and wish all of you welcome and good time here in Dubrovnik, which I believe is one of the most beautiful places on earth. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Vušanović, on warm words and warm welcome. Now I would like to invite Mr. Igor Čižmek from Ministry of the Environment and Energy from Croatia, who is the Assistant Minister, and we always have good support from Ministry. Now let's hope we will get some more warm words.
Honorable and dear participants of this international scientific conference, I warmly welcome you all on behalf of Minister of Environment and Energy, Dr. Tomislav Ćorić, and of course on my own behalf. Congratulations to the organizers, professors of the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering and Naval Architecture, University of Zagreb, who have been organized the conference for the 14th time, along with other esteemed partner institutions. It's my pleasure to welcome the distinguished guests present here. Conference Chair, Professor Neven Duić, and Vice Dean of the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering and Naval Architecture, Professor Rolph Schneider, and Dean of Faculty of Mechanical Engineering in Montenegro, Professor Igor Vušanović. This academic community has a specific, extremely important role in society. On one hand, it monitors its development and indicates trends and the problems. And on the other hand, it encourages reasoning and provides new ideas and solutions. It is through recent reports that the academic community has warned us about the global challenge and the biodiversity decrease and of the increase of global average temperature. In addition, we are witnessing significant impacts of climate change on ecosystem, health, the economy, and society. As a society, we have not ignored these challenges. A growing number of international forums are discussing how to stop these negative trends and how to stabilize the climate. But the most important thing is to answer the question if we can change the concept of governance as usual and business as usual as our life and the business concept. This is not just about the necessity of change in a large abstract system. This is a question for every individual who makes an entire range of decisions on a daily basis that are more or less sustainable and that have a measurable environmental footprint. The 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda, which contains 17 Global Sustainable Development Goals, aims to steer action towards sustainable development at the global, regional, and of course, national levels. However, the European Union and its member states are even more ambitious to protecting the environmental and the climate. You know that. Thus, a climate neutral Europe was announced by 2050, and the new president of the European Commission made it a priority through the so-called European Green Deal. These ideas are looking for solutions, and this is where I see your role. It's time for the issue of further development of energy sector to be analyzed in the context of European objective on climate neutrality. The impact of climate change must certainly be taken into account when discussing the development of sustainable energy. The results of climate modeling show that climate change will intensify and we will have a direct and indirect impact on the energy sector. For the purpose of strategic planning related to climate challenges, the Ministry of Environment and Energy coordinates the development of the low carbon development strategy of Republic Croatia until 2030 with the view to 2050. And the second one, the strategy for adaptation to climate change until 2040 with the view to 2070. But at the operational level, we need solutions, including those for the development of sustainable energy. I hope that this conference will contribute to the exchange of knowledge and better cooperation on projects of importance for sustainable development. And at the end, I wish you a successful conference and fruitful discussions, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Čižmek, on nice words. Now, I would like to continue with introduction, and as we know, repetition is the mother of knowledge, so I will just show you some numbers that Daniel already presented, just to see how does it look on the global scale, so you can find your spot here. As we said, we had around 610 participants coming from 55 countries, 280 cities, 350 universities, institutes, and companies. So many countries are represented here, and that is important, as Mr. Čižmek said, that we need to discuss sustainable solutions, we need to exchange ideas, as Professor Vušanović said here. He already made some contacts, and that's why we come to the conferences, to make new contacts, to make new projects, and our conference is an excellent place to do that. How we can tell you that? Because we know we had many of these conferences from, as Professor Schneider said, we started organizing in 2002 together with Neven, and then later Professor Guzović took off and organized several conferences as a chair, and then Neven take form of chair, and now we are going all over the world, and we started with the 100 presentations, but for example last year we have 636 papers presented on the 3 SDEWES conferences all around the world. And beside the projects, we know that your important contribution to these conferences is through your papers and through our special issues that are published by distinguished journals. And I'm very thankful, and all of the SDEWES community, to editors-in-chief of these journals, to guest editors, to reviewers, to all of you who participate in not just writing, but also to a review process, which now is becoming more and more demanding due to pressure of publications and time for review. Let's hope that your papers will be published in some of the special issues that are following our conference. Beside the special issues, we also have a journal that came out from this conference, which is Journal of Sustainable Development of Energy, Water and Environment Systems, with Professor Duić as editor-in-chief. We know now we are listed in Scopus, and there are more and more papers coming out. But as I already said, there are many people involved in the organization of the SDEWES conference, many committees. Maybe we have one of the strongest international scientific committees in the field of sustainable development of energy, water, and environment systems. We also have a scientific advisory board that is now counting more than 500 people that are reviewing abstracts and papers that are helping this conference going on, and we are very thankful to all of you. Also, behind this conference, there is a local organizing committee, and I'm remembering when I was a student together with my colleague Marko Ban, who is now postdoc at the SDEWES Center, but who is also our IT guy behind this conference. So he is here from 2002. And Marko, please stand up just to... Then maybe you already communicate with Nevena and Iva, who are part of local organizing committee, who solve these visa issues, your financial issues, etc. So Iva, please stand up. Okay. And then we also have our biggest motivator and man behind this local organizing committee, who managed to coordinate stuff and force students to do the hard work here on the conference. So Tomislav, can you stand up at the... And there are also members of local organizing committee, our students, PhD students, postdocs, maybe they are here, so please stand up just to see if you are... they're all working, no? There are some of them, so... As a local organizing committee, we should help you with all of your issues, so just approach to some of us and we will try to provide you solutions. And now I would like to ask Tomislav, who is in charge of the local organizing committee, you know, the systems, political systems, any social system without rules are becoming anarchy, and anarchy is not so good. So not to turn this conference to anarchy, I will ask Tomislav just to tell some rules and what we expect from you and from the chairs, participants, etc. Please come and tell. Okay.
Thank you, Goran, for this nice introduction. Well, I think I have the worst task today in this opening ceremony because I have to tell you about the strict rules and policies we enforce at SDEWES conference regarding publication of your papers. So coming back to Goran's slide regarding journals where we publish special issues, there are a lot of them. But if you want to be eligible to submit and publish in those journals through SDEWES special issues, the critical thing is that you have to present your paper. So I would strongly suggest that you are on time and that you know when your presentation is and that you physically present your paper in your session. If not, unfortunately, all the papers that will not be presented will be cancelled and will not be able to participate in the selection process for the special issues of this conference. The same applies for the poster session. So it's not enough just to put your poster. You should also be present in front of your poster. We have a very good poster award committee. They will go around through the poster session and check whether you are actually present. They will ask you a few questions and discuss your poster. So it's very important for you to be in front of your poster when your slot when your poster session is scheduled. Info regarding posters, we will have the best poster award on the closing session on Sunday, so please stay till Sunday to find out whether you are one of the awardees. Another issue that is quite important I would like to discuss is the social visit we have. Unfortunately, we're still paying track and the attention on the weather forecast, so we are still waiting how the weather will be. So please follow our announcements in front of the registration desk. There you will have the latest info. When it comes to dinner itself, it's of course not questionable because it's not weather dependent. So we will go to the second best hotel in Dubrovnik and have our gala dinner there. But when it comes to the social part regarding boats, trips and so on, unfortunately we still can't change the weather or predict it so good, so we will wait a little more time, but we will give you all the information on the social visit at the registration at our info desk. So one practical information regarding lunch. So you all got your coupons, so you can use it for each day. One practical information regarding our Tesla rides. You can sign up at the registration desk and test it and ride around with one of our local organizing committee members. Finally, just a very short note, after the award ceremony we will have a group photo, so please don't go anywhere. We will have a group photo in front on the big staircase in front of the coffee break poster session outside. We will have some of our local organizing committee members help you and guide you to the group photo location. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much for your attention. Goran, continue.
Thank you, Tomislav. Petar, did we mention everything regarding the poster award committee? Maybe just to remind the evaluators that they should be there and evaluate posters, which is quite important contribution to the award committee to get these marks. Now, I would like to invite the chair of the conference, Professor Duić, to say something about official opening of this conference.
Thank you, Goran. I proclaim 14th Conference on Sustainable Development of Energy, Water and Environment Systems open. We will now continue with introductory addresses. I'm now with another hat. Now I'm chair of the conference. It's nice to change hats. And I would like to invite our first introductory speaker, Professor Goran Krajačić, co-chair of the conference, will give introductory address about smart islands. You know, Croatia has 1,200 islands. We want to make them smart. Europe has maybe 50,000 islands. We want to make them all smart. Goran, floor is yours.
Thank you, Professor Duić. After the music, introductory music, and after so many warm words in these introductory addresses, I would like to give you just more small overview regarding the smart islands and what is happening, and maybe just to give you some thoughts how to think of this conference and the systems in the future. So, first hypothesis that I will put is that everyone and everything can be an island. For example, here we have Africa, which is a continent, but we can say it's also an island. So you, me, everything can be an island. Maybe we can also look at this planet as an island in the solar system. So if we little bit go back to the Africa, then we can see that according to some predictions, Africa will have 2.5 billion of people in 2050, which is the same number of people that we had before 70 years in the whole world. So if these 2.5 billion people will try to live on unsustainable way as the world was living in 1950, then we will have a problem. But then we need to be smart, but maybe not as this car, which has a smart name, but how we can become smart. We can use our smartphones, or smart TV, or smart building, smart cars, smart grids, smart gas grids, smart energy systems, smart cities. Then maybe we need smart politicians, smart governments, or smart people. And then where are these smart islands come to? Today, as I said, it's easy to be smart. You just need a smartphone. But what makes this phone smart? We had normal mobile phones 20 years ago, and now we have smartphones. So technically speaking, we have 3 features of technological stuff that makes you smart. First, you need to be connected to the internet. Then you need to have many sensors. And finally, you need to have applications that will use information from sensors to guide you, to give you some useful results. If we go a little bit further, so on this way, it's quite easy to say that some technical thing is smart, but what about smart energy systems? And here is where I admire a lot to my colleagues from Denmark for Aalborg University, which has maybe more methodological approach to the smart things. For them, smart is integration of the systems. And that's why today we are here from many subjects, from many topics. We need to exchange ideas, and I'm encouraging you to go to the other sessions, not to go to the sessions where you are familiar with the topic, where you can find some new developments, but please also go to the other topics, from energy to water, from water to environmental protections, just to see what methods they are using and if you can apply these methods maybe to your systems and to make the world more integrated. Because if you don't look at the things on a holistic way, if you don't use this approach, you will have a lot of losses in your system. You will not optimize your resources, and maybe the most important, we will not optimize our economies. That's why we need to look at the integration of the systems, and as colleagues from Denmark suggest, we need to, connect power system with the district heating grids, with the district cooling grids, with the gas grids, with the transport systems, with the water system, with our industry, with the waste management system, wastewater management system, etc. And that's why we are looking at the islands as a place where we can test these solutions, where we can show that things can be integrated, can be optimized, and this is inspiration for our research work, but even more. So, like a decade ago, we used islands to develop a methodology for planning of these systems. It's quite easy to approach to planning on this way. You just have 4 steps. First, you need to map the needs of your society. Then you need to map the resources, what is available there. And then, finally, you can use some ICT technology to model the systems in which you test first feasibility of technologies, how you can use your resources to satisfy your needs. Then you check the feasibility of storage, not just energy storage, but any kind of storage of resources. And then we come to the sub-step in which the colleagues in Denmark are so advanced in integration of different flows, but also on islands we saw that we have this integration, it's beneficial, and then we are modeling different scenarios, and we are showing that on the different islands that this is possible. Like we can show in for district cooling and district heating grids in island around in cities and smart cities in the world, that we can, with integration, we can save lots of resources and optimize our system. Then we also have colleagues from SDEWES conferences that use a smart energy system approach to map islands on Philippine archipelago, so you can check and also check the special sessions that they are organizing, so you can see how islands can go further and how they can be smart. Then, why it's important to make this analysis, to make these islands in focus. For example, 14 years ago, there are many of these results published in a book, 100% RES, where islands were challenged to become sustainable places. And what is interesting, when you go to this book, you will see some cases that there were planned, like El Hierro Island, but after that, they managed to build the system. They put hybrid system there, wind power plant with a reversible hydro. You had the opportunity to listen about it on the SDEWES conference in Lisbon. And this is one of solutions that come true, but there are also many other solutions from Porto Santo Island, from Madeira Islands, etc., that are showing that islands can be really good test beds for the new technologies, for the new integration of energy systems. But as it is important to model and look the systems from the holistic approach, it's also important to make things happen. And this is why we should have always in mind that there are certain steps in development of any product, on any innovation, and maybe that's why we should lean more to the people from the industry, and together with them we need to find a way how to move, because things are looking nice on the screen and in the calculations, but what drives them out are economies, and if you don't reach the step 9 in technology readiness level, then we still have problem, but we have a space for research and for new ideas. So that's why, for example, in Republic of Korea, they want, I hope there are Koreans here that can show some of their results. We know that conference is becoming very popular, so we will try to use their knowledge. But here they made their utility company as a smart energy creator. In Croatia we also have utility company, but they have a different program, but this is just a joke. Slavic people will understand this Sjajutami, but for other, it's very hard to translate. So let's get back. What is the smart islands from point of view of islanders? You know, if you ask them, what are the smart islands? So they came together, and in 2017 they started Smart Islands Initiative, and they signed a declaration on Smart Islands. So they want to take action in mitigation and adaptation to the climate change to increase resilience on local level, because if the sea levels will rise, if hurricanes will rise, they are first on the to be handled, and they are getting more problems. But they see also opportunities in these smart technologies, because they will use them to optimize their systems, and of course they want to move away from the fossil fuels and tapping the potential of abundant renewable energy sources and energy efficiency in their countryside. They want to introduce sustainable mobility, become zero waste territory, applying circular economy, and they want to utilize water and the wastewater management system, and to increase the potential of these sources. Also, they want to preserve the natural environment, strengthen the social inclusion, diversify economies, increase education of citizens and some empowerment. So we can learn a lot from them, because their islands are geographically insulated places and sometimes very hard to reach, but that's why with new technologies we will get there, and maybe we can increase their potential. And finally, what is also problem here in Dubrovnik, if you come in August or July, you will see this place is overcrowded with the tourists, but this is also what happens on some of our islands, and not just in Croatia, but all over the world. So they want to make tourism sustainable, a year-long source of income, but as you can see, they put it here on the last place, but maybe on many of them it's the economy on the first place. There are many of technologies that can be utilized on the smart islands, and as I said, this is view how smart islands should be done from the islanders. So this is their declaration. More than 3 islands signed this declaration in Brussels, and in the light of this declaration in 2017, European Commission also proposed Malta Declaration, which is signed by 14 European states, in which they want to make clean energy for EU islands. And then European Commission also established Secretariat for clean energy for EU islands, and maybe the next year Croatia will be in the presidency of European Union. So as it is announced, maybe there will be European Convention on Islands, but we will see if this will happen. So if you go to the sum of Croatian islands, you can find some smart things, like on the island of Kirk, they have you can also meet smart people there. They are running these facilities, but they have remote-controlled waste management system, water management system, wastewater management system. They are putting electric chargers, buying electric vehicles, optimized the grids. They have also the smart lighting. And if you, for example, this is Island Kirk in North Atlantic. If you come a little bit closer, here on, I'm showing this, why? Because this is island of Mljet, and it's just 30 kilometers from here. And on this island you have a lake with an island on this lake. So lots of people are trying to get to this island on the lake on an island. And they have used ships that were propelled by diesel, but now they have 2 new ships that are propelled by electric power and solar PV. So during the summer, they even don't need to charge these boats. They are operational, and we are thankful to the Ministry of Environment and Energy, and also Croatian Fund for Environmental Protection, to have an idea to finance the part of these ships together with National Park Mljet to replace it, but there are many more solutions. And there are also many projects that are going on. I will just introduce you also this concept of 3 smart islands: Bornholm from Denmark, Madeira from Portugal, and Unije Island from Croatia, which were joined together in Horizon 2020 project, which is a project financed by the European Union. In Sulaya project we just started, and we try to test new solutions for islands to operate them in island mode of operation, even though Bornholm and Unije Island are connected to the grid, but also to try to solve problems with the local voltage, with the integration of water and the energy systems and things like this. How we think this will be happen, and if we listen to the partners that are in this Sulaya project, it's a Croatian-Swedish company, Ericsson, which is here in the project to support 5G technology for telecommunications, Internet of Things, and also applications, cloud. So they said everything can be smart now with the digitalization. And that's why it's important to talk and to share the knowledge. I know that my colleague Ingo will tell you more how we can use this digitalization to share the knowledge, and I also ask you to use digitalization to make new contacts here in the conference, because if you speak with every participant only for 1 minute, you will need 10 hours, so I think this will not be possible. So if you use the social media, if you use LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and other applications, you can speak with everyone in a shorter period of time and announce your results, and it will be more simple. So you can look more on this topic on smart islands and solutions on many of our projects. So here I would like to thank you for your attention, and I'm giving the word back to the chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Goran. Can I get a slide back? We have asked you your handles for social networks, for Twitter, for Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. If you have given us, we will try to tweet you, put you on Facebook, whichever you allowed us to do. We are hoping that that this will increase. Can you start it? That this will increase the reach of this conference, but also of your research. Please use #SDEWES when you're also doing it. Please put all the materials that you can on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, because we want to be seen. Because the things are changing. I have a son who doesn't like to read books, but he learns everything from YouTube. He learned how to cook from YouTube. I sometimes rent him as a chef because he cooks so well, and he learned it from YouTube. We don't cook at home. We eat in restaurants, but he learned because he found that as a nice hobby. We should learn how to put our knowledge on YouTube, because new generations are communicating that way. They are learning that way. And that's why we would like to invite Professor Ingo Stadler to teach us about his experiences, how to put the energy knowledge on YouTube. It's not easy, I know, but Ingo, floor is yours.
Good morning, smart participants of 14th Sustainable Development of Energy, Water, Environment Systems. Hello and welcome to Dubrovnik. Zdravo I dobrodošli u Dubrovnik. After 15 years of coming here to Dubrovnik, visiting SDEWES conference, it had been my first few words in Croatian. And I promise next time I will double my vocabulary. I have been asked to use my welcome address to report about my YouTube activities and what we researchers and scientists can do to spread our knowledge on social media. And the threats of climate change, they are now aware, we are aware of them since many, many decades. And I would say at least the last 2 decades, it also is aware in public discussion. But it never had been a top-ranked issue, and so it never decided on elections and on the government programs. And it should be also our role as scientists, not only to talk and discuss amongst ourselves on conferences like this here in the beautiful city of Dubrovnik, but also influence ourselves in social discussion and not let the public opinion formation just to the lobbyists of the old and overcome industries. I know some of us are doing and trying to do so, but to be honest, are we really successful in doing like that? Sometimes we are asked to give a short comment in the TV news, but it's a bit of filling material for the news. And maybe our way to communicate is much too silent, just always argument with boring numbers and figures. And that changed, I would say, 2 years ago, with a Swedish young girl, Greta Thunberg, when she stopped going to school on Fridays because she wants to blame her government to act on climate change, and she does not see a future for herself going to school. It's not worth going to school when there's not a future anymore. And she is not communicating with figures and numbers. She's more communicating in a very emotional way. And with that, she triggered a worldwide movement that in September 2019 resulted in several millions young people demonstrating all over the world that their government should act on climate change. And some countries also, the young people invited the old ones to participate with them. And at least my government in my country, they reacted a bit of helpless on those protests of the young people. So they started to argue, hey, you should go to school. It is by law your duty to go to school. And the best what you can do for your future is learn a lot in school and not demonstrating here. And when you have learned a lot in school, then you go to university and then you have all the knowledge to change the world. And they said, that's exactly the reason why we don't go to school, because you need to act now that we have a future. And then also some politicians said, or especially one in my country said, climate change and the worldwide economy is so complex that you just have no knowledge about that. You should not be involved in that discussion. Leave that to the experts and go to school. And that was the moment when a few scientists in my country formed the movement Scientists for Future, producing a paper using a lot of scientific citation papers and arguing, yes, the young people are right and you politicians are wrong. And that continued then. Also the parents wanted to go for future, and also the grandparents formed the organization Grandparents for Future. And so now we have a big societal movement, and for sure, maybe the most interesting movement is the Beagle for Future. You should not forget about them. So at the moment, we have a momentum in our society where the young people say, you should listen to the scientists. They don't bring their own ideas and claims, they just say, go for what the scientists say. And one possibility to spread our knowledge for sure is the social media. And one, for sure, is the Facebook. There we have a lot of discussion forums. Also, our SDEWES president, Neven Duić, is running one of those forums. In my country, a quite well-known and good journal, the Energy and Management Journal, started such a discussion forum, and I still use those forums to get a lot of information on articles published. But the discussion in the forum is on a very, very low level, an awful low level with a lot of insults. One could get the impression that all the users of Facebook are all small Donalds, small Borises, small Jairs. It's difficult really to communicate in the channels. And so what I did or tried, I started to produce YouTube videos on the energy transition process and how energy transition could work. And the discussion in my country quite often is, yes, as long as we don't have energy storage solutions, we cannot go for energy systems based on wind and solar. And so I produced a lot of videos that we have all the energy storages we need, we just should do it. And I also produced some videos on energy policy. And the last 2 years, we had a lot of discussion in my country to phase out lignite, to phase out coal. And almost half a year, every week, we had TV shows, talk shows in television discussing that topic about the role of coal. Is it possible to have an electricity system without coal? About jobs in coal industry and so on. And when you measure the success of videos in the number of clicks, it was not successful. And then, this is only 9 of the 10 videos, and there was one video that really gained a few thousands of clicks, and I didn't understand why some only a few and one really a few thousands. And then I see, I gave that video the name of what one of our politicians loves to say, and he says the energy transition is physically, it's by physics not possible to run an energy system on 100% renewable. And so the people thought, oh, now the professor is explaining why energy transition is not possible, but it was never my intention, but it attracted people, and people, I learned they like negativity, they are going for sensations, and then they click the videos. And then some people said, yes, when you want to have millions of followers, you cannot talk about energy. You need to talk about beauty tips or something like that, then you can have a lot of followers. Okay, I tried out with that, and I opened Ingo's Beauty Palace, but still talking about energy. And yes, I got a bit more clicks, but I'm not so talented in handling with lipstick and eyeliners, so maybe also that is not my future. But I would like also to talk about lecturing and how we can use videos in lecturing, and that is flipped classroom is a possibility. It does not mean that we put our students the heads down and the legs upwards, but it should give a solution to the problems that we nowadays have a lot of different types of students with different personalities. They require individual learning speeds. They have also different learning styles, and maybe we should give more intensive advice to them. And when we be honest, especially those professors amongst us who are also active in research, quite often are absent. And when I noticed myself after 10 years of lecturing, every year I do the same jokes at exactly the same time of the lecture. I thought, oh, now it's time to really change something. And I start producing videos also for my lectures. And the flipped classroom concept means that the students, they watch videos at home. For them, that's boring. They just operate the videos in 3 times the speed. And those who have more problems to understand the content, they can watch them twice or 3 times, 4 times, and more. And so that should give us then more time when they come back to the lecture hall, that we are able to discuss, that we can apply the knowledge then in the lecture hall. But the stupid learning, it's the same when they watch a video or when it's just a professor talking in front of them. So we have small labs, and then what also was the experience when we thought, oh, now they watch the videos and they come back and then we have a lot of discussions. No, it was not, because nobody was prepared. So the lecture where we want to discuss was over after 5 minutes. So we introduced some mini tests before each presence event, and then that worked better, and now we can really have discussions, talk about problems with content, and also many other things. And when we put that on our internal university content management systems, it works well. We have online forums where the students should discuss their problems among themselves, and the professor is more the moderator. And the videos also are in a closed shop in our university. But when we open that and you choose our videos, for example, on YouTube, then everybody could profit out of that. And to be honest, in my lectures, I am only expert for a very bit of what I'm really teaching. And when we could use all the knowledge here in the hall here and share our lectures, maybe we could all profit from that. Sometimes, when I feel a bit fed up with energy policy, with my research projects, and also with teaching, I produce more nonsense videos, but still letting the people talk about energy and energy transition projects. Also, those videos get much more clicks than when I talk about energy storage. But coming back to lecturing with videos, what I would like to discuss with you in the next days, should SDEWES community have its own open educational resources platform? Maybe that would be a good idea to gather all the knowledge, all the expertise here in our community this year, more than 600 participants. Maybe that would be a good idea. Then I also would like to use the possibility to address next year's SDEWES conference, that will take place in the most beautiful German city. It is where our university is located. It is in Cologne. I hope to see you then there, September 1st to September 5th, that we can continue our series there. And to end, I would like, I so often had been asked, when is your book on energy storage available apart from that ugly German language? And I can report, at least since Monday, it's available as ebook, and a lot of universities worldwide can download that for free in their university campuses. So I would like to wish you to have a nice conference, a lot of interesting talks and discussions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ingo. Well, we are thinking about starting a platform. We are taping all the invited lectures, panels, and collecting them. And once we have a reasonable number, we are thinking about SDEWES TED, but we should probably go much further, as we have learned from you. So what we did learn today, that we have to do research, yes. We have to communicate with local communities. It's important for our research because we are researching energy, water, and environment systems, and this cannot be done without local communities. And we also have to communicate our knowledge. So we have to learn how to communicate in new ways, because new generations have new ways of communication. Also, there is another way we can communicate our knowledge, to go to politics. The chair of International Scientific Committee, Professor Maria Graça Carvalho, was elected European Parliament member, and she was so sorry she couldn't come here because she has to grill all these commissioners now. I would like to close the opening session with this, but don't move. We are continuing with award session.